Yeah, I need a haircut. I can see I need a haircut. I'll take care of it. Well, happy weekend, and thanks to my sponsor, Kathleen Wayland of Wayland Financial at 128 Buckland in LaSalle for always sponsoring Tom's Take. And during the holiday season, we here at Starved Rock Media talked a lot about the growing need to tackle food insecurity in our communities. But we did a lot more than talk about it. And in the end, you put your money where our mouth was. Once again, we partnered with the Miller Group Charitable Trust to expand the annual Christmas Feed the Need Fund drive. We increased by 2 the number of pantries taking part in the matching program. Now, even given the greater need this past year, you, our neighbors, friends, listeners, came through, giving enough to spark the financial matches that were offered by the trust, further strengthening the buying power of the pantries. The most recent campaign benefited 5 organizations, the Illinois Valley, Putnam County, and Hall Township food pantries, as well as newcomers, the Community Food Basket of Ottawa and the Bureau County Food Pantry in Princeton. In total, Miller Group Charitable Trust matched $17,500 in donations. That was the max. And this past week, Mary Jo Crady of the Illinois Valley Food Pantry and Jan Martin of the Hall Township Food Pantry each came by the station. It was great to see them. I got to interview them, as you'll see in a second. And when I profiled each of them for the first time, wow, Christmas 2023, they opened a lot of eyes with their operations. They have different circumstances to deal with. Mary Jo's LaSalle Pantry was more than cramped at the time, and it's just gotten worse, and therefore impacting all that they really want to do for the community. And so as you're about to hear, she's addressing that problem and looking at every option. And after the chat with Mary Jo, you're going to hear from Hall Township's Jan Martin, good friend of ours as well. Here we go.
We were able to receive $5,000 from the Miller Group event this year.
Great. I imagine that's helped out in a way.
Oh yes, every little bit helps out. But yeah, with our holiday food baskets, Thanksgiving and Christmas, so it was helped to cut some of those costs that came out of our pocket.
How are things going with space for you guys?
Not well.
Okay.
We are still actively looking for a new location. It looks like we're going to be building. After looking at many buildings, existing buildings, what it would cost for the renovations that we have to do, we sat down and calculated, and it's actually going to be more economical to build from scratch. We are in the process of negotiating a piece of land up in the northern part of LaSalle. So,
well, that sounds quite interesting, because I mean, you would think that building from scratch would be more expensive than finding a building.
You would think, but when you're looking at older buildings and the renovations that have to be done, the codes you have to bring up to par, and then we also have requirements that we have to meet with the health department and our food bank.
Yeah, that makes sense. Might as well start from scratch then and get it right.
Yes. We distribute food 3 times a week. And every distribution day, I am signing up new clients, and we're averaging about 5 a day. So it's about 15 new clients a week. And we're finding that the families are larger.
That was what you told me last year.
Yes, and it is still that trend.
Sometimes fewer families, but more people in the families?
Yes,
often?
yes, because we go by household. So yeah, there's ones that I have noticed they are combining themselves under one roof, and just to help make ends meet.
What do you need right now?
Eggs. Eggs are...
Because you have Easter coming up, you're saying?
Yes, and with the bird flu and the limit on eggs and the price of them, we have no eggs right now at all.
So traditionally what you guys are able to do is take the money and get greater buying power with money than you could if the food were donated directly. In this case, though, you probably want the eggs if you can find them, and not necessarily the money to buy the eggs,
right.
Correct?
Well, I'm still working with vendors to see, what our cost could be. The lowest I found so far was $5 a dozen. And every week they just tell me keep checking in. But then they're also having issues. The stores are having issues with getting the eggs as far as they're being limited on how many eggs that they can order.
So it's not just a question of supply coming to you, it's supply coming to the vendor.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, what do the next few months look like for you with given all the current trends with Easter coming up? Do you anticipate it's just going to get busier and busier, or how?
Yes, because right after Easter, we have our Summer Feed Our Children program.
Yep.
And so it's never ending. You know, we go from one thing to another. And our Summer Feed Our Children program is very important for families with school-age children that normally would get the benefits of breakfast and lunches when they're going to school. And now they're not going to school.
Right. Well, finally, so you could use eggs. Obviously, you can use cash. Can you use some volunteers too?
Oh, yes, always. Always use volunteers. My main ones right now are Tuesdays and Thursdays when we are cleaning and preparing for the next food distribution day. Thank you. Thank you so very much for your generosity and your support of our Illinois Valley Food Pantry and all the pantries in our area. We benefit greatly from you.
All right. Let me just ask you, first of all, it's so good to see you again. How did the Christmas go for the Project Success and the Hall Township Food Pantry?
It was a happy day. We had so many volunteers that came and helped, and the lines were long. They were all the way from Terry Street all the way back to St. Margaret's Hospital and in the parking lot waiting. So it was very long.
That's good and bad, though, isn't it?
I know, it is.
It's a sign that it's needed.
We're so happy we can help them, but we're so sad that they have to ask for our help.
I know. So how many people would you say that you helped out at the holidays this year?
I think we had, I planned for 400, which is a lot in my giving area, but I had to call Hy-Vee and get more food, so we did about 480.
Okay.
Yeah, there were a lot.
MJ was just talking about problems with eggs. If there were anything that she really needs right now in terms of a product, it's eggs.
That is a big discussion.
Tell me about it.
Do we spend that much money on one product? But it's Easter. You know, Easter's coming up. How can you not have eggs? So it's push and shove between me and my board. Maybe if I can do something special to collect money for eggs, but it's a big bite. I mean, it's a lot when you take 400 times, the price of eggs. It's a lot of money. Water is another commodity that we can always use. We were lucky that it was something that we were able to purchase for a while. It's off the list now, but from Riverbend. We have such generous people, though, like Tony Martino and Martino Distributing. If I need water and I call them, they're right there.
That's wonderful.
I have another anonymous gentleman who is the same way. And it's good to have people that you can call on.
In general, what could you use right now more than anything?
I guess money.
What would you say about working with the Miller Group Charitable Trust on this second one for another year?
They are so wonderful. I have to tell you, whenever we have a group come in and, they ask me, what do you do? And they say, how is your support from the community? Miller Charitable is always at the top of the list. They're such a giving group, and that's why we can make it, because of groups like them. And they set good examples. As a matter of fact, a gentleman came in and he said, I heard on the radio that if you get up to 5,000, it'll be matched. And he goes, how far are you? And I had just matched. And he goes, oh, so it's all done? And my treasurer was there and said, well, if you want to match the 5,000, he goes, I'll do that. So we were very lucky.
Lots of challenges, big and small, especially these days. But they deal with these things because their mission is just so important. Same's true for the hard work of the Community Food Basket of Ottawa, the Putnam County Food Pantry, and the Bureau County Food Pantry, too, certainly. And that's what makes it a privilege to help them if we can. I know you've already done a lot to even get to this point with the pantries. That's who you are. Given the growing demand, even after the holidays and with Easter around the corner, your continued support is most appreciated too, no matter what form it takes. And Kathleen Whalen's support of this multimedia weekend reset is critical to my comparatively simple enterprise. And boy, do I welcome that. I'll talk to you in the morning.